My job is to get you to your first deal across the goal line without you getting thrown out. And if you follow all that shit, plus the board and the holding company, you'll be perfect. When you sign those documents, you're attesting that everything is truth above. And if you don't list all your bank accounts, if you don't list all your debts, if you don't list all your agreements, you have what's commonly referred to committed bank fraud, and you go to jail. Full disclosure. This deal is totally transparent. We're full disclosure. We tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. We tell them everything. That's why here I am about to turn 75, been doing this 50 years. I've never been in trouble. Some of my kids have been in trouble. Some of the deals I've been chairman of, I've resigned, and I've given evidence against the kid. Somebody asked me, and I don't want to say his name on TV, about a German kid I used to, I don't want to give him publicity. I went out of my way, spent my own money, and went to testify in court to make sure he went to jail. Just to make sure, but I'm clean as a fucking hound's tooth, because I go out of my way. Because I know once I lose my financial reputation, I knew this 50, I'm dead. I'm dead. And that's not going to happen. And one of the biggest things you need to make sure you assure your board members is you're not going to shit on their reputation in their twilight years. I told you I'm on the board with a 4-star general guy, a big high-profile guy that you see in the news in America. And I told him, I just wanted to tell you something, General. I just wanted to make sure. I'm chairman of this. If somebody has to take the bullet, fall on the knife, it's me. Big smile. And he told the other guys, that's leadership. Now, when he says, nobody will believe him. Because he's a slimy fucking Dutchman thief. When Bulgaria, they won't believe. Huh? They won't believe you anyway. Don't bother saying it. When I say it, they believe me. When Fu Manchu over here says it, now they don't believe you either. Okay, this is easy peasy. But remember, when you sign those documents, you're giving full disclosure, 100%. And you, at the last minute or after you sign it, then you transfer property into your wife's name. That's the British way. That's still bank fraud. In some countries, any transfer of property up to 3 years has to be disclosed. If you transfer property into your wife's name 20 months ago, it's still considered yours, except for final decree and divorces. Because they believe, this guy knew he was going to try to fuck the bank, so he did it 2.5 years ago. And that's, but most of my kids get in trouble for paying no tax. Paying no taxes first, bank fraud second. Because you don't go to jail for mismanagement. They should send you to jail for mismanagement, in my judgment, but they don't. No taxing, no paying taxes, bank fraud second. I got an email from your buddy, one of your Dutch buddies, yesterday. When did we get that email from him, Kat? The Dutchman, the guy in Amsterdam. Yeah, that he wants me to do. Okay. He wiggled out of the swamp, raised his head, and looked around for who he could bite and fuck over. No, I don't want to give him publicity on camera. Because then they take my voice out and they make it into a goddamn thing like I'm recommended. You can do all kind of shit now. You know what I'm talking about. My crack staff knows how to do that, but I don't. I'm not quite illiterate technology-wise, but I want to stay as close to the illiterate end of the continuum as I can. Because I can say with my hand on my heart, I go into court, I don't know how to do that, Your Honor. I don't know what they're talking about, which is the goddamn truth. I don't know. I don't know how to attach a photo. I don't know. What I do is I forward it to Kat the way it is, and then I say, Kat, you do it. But I don't know how to do it. I don't want to know how to do it. The more knowledge I have, the more potential trouble I can get in. Okay. Any other questions? I knew it. Okay. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Corporate structure. Holding company. Your board. Now, so far it's easy, right? Canton's with me. He's with me. They don't even know. They don't know one canton from the other. Believe me. Okay, it doesn't matter. Oh no, we have other Swiss people. I take that back. We have other Swiss people. But see, whereas he looks honest for some reason, and you don't. He looks reputable, and you don't. Look at the difference in him. I would think the entire seminar, all the attendees would agree with me. Okay. In the holding company, it's kind of a misnomer because you're not holding anything. But to start the holding company, and I'm not going to bring up the fact that supervisory board and the Germans aside. So you got a holding company. You got you, the majority, over 50% shareholder. You've got a chairman, 8-10. You've we're going to assume for this holding company, you're not the CEO. Some of you could be CEO, but we're not assuming that right now. You've got a CEO, 5 or 6. You've got a CFO, 3, 4, 5%. You've got 2 industry experts. I like personally to have 3 or 4 industry experts because I want more than 2 opinions. And you have a lawyer and accountant from a big firm. All the people on the board should be, let's just say you're going to be healthcare related. It doesn't have to be, let's say you're doing assisted living. They don't have to all be assisted living. You may have a hospital administrator or a chairman. There was chairman of a holding company. They had hospitals. They had all kinds of stuff. Okay. But they all have to have some health experience. Do they all have to be in the same country that you are? No. If you're in the EU, it's probably you're going to be coming out of not coming out. You're going to be doing business out of the country that you're in, so it really doesn't matter. But if you're in Britain, which is no longer, they're Brexit, Mexit, whatever, you will probably have more people in the UK, but not all of them. You may have a German, a Swiss, whatever. Okay. So now you've got your board for the holding company. You will form that company the day that you have your first board meeting, and the day you have your first board meeting is when you're there to meet to talk about the 4 or 5 letters of intent that you have for potential acquisition. You heard Andreas. We had 5. We went after 4, and he's bought all 4 now. Okay. I just had a bright guy send me 1 that I'm chairman of, and I said, no, we need more than 1 because we may or may not like that. And then now the board has come together. We failed at doing anything. They've met each other, and they figured out that you're a fucking bum. That's a recipe for failure. So we want to say that we're going to go after 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the company. Doesn't have to be 100%. You will, for that holding company, remember, you will, you don't need a website, business cards, none of that shit. Remember? And that holding company, will, then, when it's time to say after you have 5 LOIs, or it can be more than 5 LOIs, letters of intent, you will, issue, a notice for a board meeting, your first board meeting. And that notice has to go out, it doesn't have to, but it should go out 10 working days before. So that's 2 weeks. 10 working days before the board meeting. So you send it out on the 1st, you're going to have the board meeting on the 15th. Let's make it simple. You have the notice of the board meeting will have an agenda, what you're going to talk about. Have an agenda, what you're going to talk about. And the agenda will not be, it will have maybe 10 or 12 or 15 bullet points, no more. And you will have the agenda broken down to who's going to talk. You'll say the chairman introduces the thing, then you, and then each board member will have a little thing to tell about their past, what they've done in life. Then part of the agenda will be appointing a chairman for the meeting, not the company. Appoint a chairman for the meeting, the board meeting. And that can be your chairman, or it can be you. I would recommend that you have it your chairman. It could be your CEO too. You should have the board meetings about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon starting, so they can finish by 4 or 5. There shouldn't be no first initial board meeting that should last more than 3 or 4 hours, no matter what. No matter what. You've already got the breakdown of what a board memorandum looks like. Okay, it's in your links. I showed you a hard copy, but it's in your links. You will decide if you're going to be in America, a subchapter S, a C Corp, a LLC, a limited liability partnership. All that doesn't make any difference. The lawyers and accountants will figure that shit out. Not you. Okay. You'll have input. And there's different benefits for different of those companies that I just mentioned. The UK has an equivalent thereof, PLC, yada, yada, yada. And what you're really setting the company up for, the holding company, is what is your anticipated exit? Are you going to exit to an IPO? Or are you going to exit through a sale to a strategic buyer? Or what? And in certain parts of the world, you will set the company up differently based on what your anticipated exit is. Now, that's not in concrete. That's not absolute 100%. But if you're in this country and you anticipate going public, were you going to go public on AIM, which is the secondary stock market here, or are you going to go full listing London Stock Exchange? Okay. You send this out and you ask for comments. 95% of the time you'll get no comments. Not because they're not interested, but because the board members realize making comments on a board agenda isn't any big deal, even if you make some mistakes. So now, the board meeting. Remember, when they sit down, they'll have their package in front of them, and you seat the board members where you want them to be seated. Now, there's 2 or 3 questions. Do you want your professionals there, accountants and lawyers? I like them being there. Some of your board members won't like them, so you ask them, do you have a problem with our accountants and lawyers being at the board meeting? And most of the time, the answer is as follows. Yes, for the presentation, but no for our general meeting and dinner. Because they think that some secret sauce information is going to slip out. That's why. There's no real reason. But they won't like it. Because they don't consider them colleagues. This is very European. In America, they don't give a fuck. But our paid lawyer is not our colleague. That's very European. So you will put on the agenda that the corporate lawyers and the accountants will have a presentation of between 10 and 30 minutes, and they will present even though you've already bought off on their sales shit and they're representing you, they will resell the board for 20, 30 minutes, and it will be open to general questions to them. You can have these meetings and should have these meetings at either your lawyer's office or accountant's office, and they will do it for free. And they will also set up drinks and sandwiches and bullshit, no problem. Now, when you're discussing during the board meeting the potential acquisition candidates, you will be the person making the presentation for each deal, because nobody knows the deal better than you. So you will be talking about acquisition candidate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And be prepared to answer the question from the board members. What are these in any preference? Is the first one the bestest? That's not good English. And is the fifth one the worstest? That's not good English. So be prepared. You got to know the number. You got to know what the deal's about. But you will have done the due diligence. You will have dealt with the seller. And you will have bounced ideas off your CFO, CEO, chairman, and professionals, accountants and lawyers. So nobody in theory, even though you don't know anything. So then they go through the presentation. The accountants and lawyers will make a pitch. Then the accountants and lawyers will probably leave. Now, you may ask the accountants and lawyers to stick around and join us for drink. That's very European, but not for dinner, which I just soon have them at dinner, but most of the board members won't want that. Again, I'm an American. Call me anything. Piss on me, just give me the money. Whereas, I don't even know the definition of a colleague. I don't know what a colleague is. I never heard that word till I got to London in 1981. So you've gone through the agenda and they've approved 3 of the 5 deals to go forward. With general parameters, we're going to pay 1 to 3 times EBITDA, like we've talked about ad nauseum here. And, you, the CEO, then there's 4 or 5 things we're going to vote on as a board. Now, at the same time, we're incorporating the board and we're putting the paperwork together and we're issuing the shares. So part of that agenda is the transparency of what the board members are going to get. That's normally the first time as a group they understand who shot John, who's on first, and who gets what. And they'll see you're going to have 63%. The CEO has 12%, blah, 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 blah. But it will become instantly clear because of corporate governance and the laws that you are in control. The incorporation, the notary, in certain countries there'll be a notary there when the company gets started. The company will, and the shares will be issued. And the last 2 things on the agenda are, 1, what authority are we giving you to go forward? And remember, Andrea said that he had to go back and explain to the directors that I changed and I wanted to give him more authority, which, as you remember, he said the directors didn't like that because the Germans are careful. He may turn into a fucking Hitler or something, that's one of the things that comes up for vote. And the second thing that comes up for vote is that you have permission to run the business day to day until the board meets again. But the outline, everybody knows the outline. I mean, I'm not telling you anything, and all this is in the template. I do not like having a section, any other comments or questions. I'm maybe the only guy, not the only. I don't like that because that opens up Pandora's box. Everybody understand why I don't want to open up the general questions? Yeah, exactly. Why are you this bald fucking Nazi he's got no qualifications? Let's throw him. That's exactly why. So you don't vote on it. So then you go to there. Now there's 2 ways of voting on all these items. Items 1 through 6, all in favor, show of hands and or nod of head. Or item 1, item 2, item 3. I don't like that method. I like items 1 through 6, all in favor, raise of hands or nod your head. Passed unanimously. You always want unanimous votes. You don't want any abstaining. 100% unanimous. And what I just described to you, you'll never get in trouble. Because remember, my job is to get you to your first deal across the goal line without you getting thrown out. And if you follow all that shit, plus the board and the holding company, you'll be perfect. And those that don't, do it at their own peril. And then somebody's going to be the corporate secretary appointed for the meeting. You'll have a corporate secretary. They'll be responsible for the minutes of the meeting. And the minutes come 1, 2, 3 weeks later. You look at them first. Then you have your chairman look at them second. Then you send them out. 50% of the time you'll get no comments in the corporate minutes. And I made the comment on one of the recently. The board argued over wisdom, and then we just took the word out. But these guys got nothing to do and all day to do it in. So, I don't remember what it was, but we just took the word out. It seems like pretty innocuous, simple, you can't even agree. Never mind. I said, fine, just delete it. So there's no wisdom in our last board meeting's minutes. And then you meet for drinks, with or without the professionals, and then you go to dinner, and then they normally drink to excess, and then you see the real personalities of these guys, the real them. And they're all pretty much decent guys and gals, they are. And most of the boards I'm on are not English-speaking boards, so I don't know, they start talking, and when they drink, they're talking in their native tongue. And so, to the extent that I still understand a little German, Schweinhund, I remember that word was Schwein, So, sometimes, and the German guys they ask, how good is Mr. Pena's German anymore? But if you speak the same, they won't say anything. I used to carry a Financial Times in Arabic under my armpit. Arabic. It was like a Bible, I carried it. Make sure all my Middle Eastern partners saw it. To this day, I think some of them still think I can read and write Arabic, and I can't. But it keeps them off edge. It keeps them on their back foot. How much Arabic does Mr. Pena really? I hear he's fluent. Fuck. I hear he went to Saudi University, which is all bullshit. I never went to any university. By the time my 10 years in the Middle East, I have a PhD from Kuwaiti University. Okay, YouTube, go out and rip their head off and shit down their neck. Oh, by the way, YouTube, stop bothering Marcus Bauer. He doesn't want to talk to you. He wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fucking fire. So leave him alone.